Hello everybody, it's Starrapter here, and this is the moment I've been waiting for all year long. This is my spoiler-free review for Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. So getting into the plot without giving anything away, we have the Resistance on the run from the First Order. We have Kylo Ren still conflicted about his decision to kill Han Solo, his father. And we have Rey, who is trying to go get Luke to come back to the Resistance to help save the galaxy. So before I get started with my positives and my negatives, I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about how I felt after my first viewing of the film. So sitting there as the credits were rolling for the first time, I didn't know what to think. I was like, I'm not really happy, but I'm not really disappointed either, and I need some time to really think, because this movie is really making you think, really making you put the pieces together and process what happened. And for me as a person that is so ingrained with Star Wars every day, I'm always thinking about speculation and theories, and when 90% of that stuff actually doesn't come to fruition in the film, I couldn't help but being a little bit let down. But then I went for a second viewing, and I let that stuff all go out the window, and I just enjoyed the movie for what it was, for what Rian Johnson created, and let me tell you, it made the world of a difference. So getting into the positives, I first want to start by talking about the characters in The Last Jedi, specifically about the three new characters. We have Vice Admiral Holdo, who is this very strong leader in the Resistance, and she has such a strong sense of duty, and she's butting heads with Poe Dameron, and it leads to a very interesting arc. We also have the character of Rose Tico, who to me is like the heart of the Resistance. She goes on a mission with Finn, and she, to me, is one of the best things about this movie. I really love the performance of Kelly Marie Tran with this very optimistic character. And finally, we have the mysterious character of DJ, played by Benicio del Toro. He kind of skirts the line of morality a little bit, you know, kind of good or bad, who is he really? And he adds a little bit of nuance, and he kind of reminds me of Lando a little bit. Now, getting into Mark Hamill, and that was a big thing going into this movie, is because I haven't seen Mark Hamill do anything since, well, Return of the Jedi, pretty much. So I didn't know what to expect, and Mark Hamill brought his A game. When I'm watching the movie, I'm watching the see Luke Skywalker. Not once did I really think, oh, that's Mark Hamill just acting. Like, that was Luke Skywalker from freaking Return of the Jedi there, you know what I mean? So really good part played by Mark there, and it was just so nice to see him back. And Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, man, he was one of my favorite things about The Force Awakens, this whole portrayal of his character being so conflicted between the dark and light, and he does it here again, but he does it even better. And Adam Driver's this kind of actor where his face, you can't really tell what he's thinking. So I think that's what playing really well into his character. He's just got this frustration and his anger and his hatred that really plays so well into the character. You don't know what to expect. And finally, the last character I want to talk about is General Leia. This is Carrie Fisher's last performance, unfortunately, but she does a spectacular job that is awe-inspiring. Okay, so getting into the more technical aspects of The Last Jedi, I want to mention the editing as being something that is so far-flung, something that is so different than anything else in the Star Wars saga and movies in general. We have these quick cuts between characters, their names are mentioned, it goes to that character. We have narration going over previous scenes, and it's just something that just definitely gives this movie its own kind of feeling. Going along with that is the sound design, very, very well done. There are moments of complete silence that help emphasize and hone in on a specific event that is occurring. And going along with that is the cinematography. There are moments where it's like an anime. We've never seen anything quite like it in Star Wars, as well as Canto Bight looks incredible, and Crate has this accent of red dust, which also goes into the promotion of all the red that was on the movie posters and all that. So everything, you know, as far as technical aspects, is so good in this movie. And finally, this movie keeps you on the edge of your seat quite like nothing else in Star Wars. This is really like a roller coaster. You think something is going to happen. They train your mind to think that, oh, this object is going to come into play. It doesn't. And then you're completely let off guard of something else. And that's what I was saying about processing taking a couple days, because so many crazy things happen that I would have never thought of. And that to me is really refreshing, especially for a Star Wars movie. With all that said, this movie is not perfect, so let's get into the negatives. First off, I think there are sometimes too many humorous elements that are in the way of something that is important. Something that is happening that should be very serious is injected with humor that just lets the whole thing go. Another thing I want to say is certain moments there could have been more exposition to things that I felt were very important that were just never carried all the way through. And finally, the effects, some of the CGI, and there's one practical effect moment in particular that just felt off to me. With that being said, I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, a score of a 9 out of 10. This movie is definitely nothing that I expected. Again, I totally expected something else, which is really refreshing. This movie is changing the status quo for Star Wars movies going forward. I mean, we're trained to know the format of a Star Wars movie up until now. So it's going forward. This is very interesting to see how Episode 9 is going to turn out specifically, but everything going forward from that. I got a very different feeling coming out of the theater from, let's say, Rogue One or The Force Awakens. I can't really tell you my ranking of this movie and all of Star Wars right now because it's just so fresh in my mind. Like, I have to go and see this movie another 3 or 4 times in the theater probably because it's just that well constructed. And a movie's good when you have to constantly go back because Rian Johnson puts so many little elements that I noticed the second time around that kind of foreshadow what might happen, and there are so many themes, and I think this movie leaves you with more questions than The Force Awakens gave us. So it's going to give a lot to think about for the fans because we have 2 years before Episode 9 comes out. So that is going to do it for my review of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Let's talk about it all in the comment section below, but please hold your spoilers. I have an entire other video with my spoiler discussion that we could all talk back and forth with the spoilers. So make sure you check out that video. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. I have plenty of other content on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of it. I'm Starrapter. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.